twig of his juice.
Epilepsy 11. How was
already
your
a racist, homophobic, xenophobic asshole? So
How was your Labor Day?
very laborious.
Mm-hmm.
Cut some grass. Then I went over to my mother's and cut some more grass. Yeah, Mom. Move on back from Florida. Florida's for old people. Are you old? Nah. Well, all right then. Come up here. Come up here and live with us, near us. And yeah, I'll cut your grass.
Mark Tremonti's released his book, or I don't know, what is it, a novel, fiction novel or something?
Like a biography kind of thing?
Well, he did he released an album called A Dying Machine, and apparently it's a concept album.
I've got it on vinyl. I think we looked at it probably around episode 4 or 5.
And so now he's done a book to go with the album.
That's
where
cool.
You can read the book.
I guess his brother probably did all the illustrations and such.
Probably. You can buy it at Fret 12, so yeah, I'm sure he's involved.
Yeah. Well, doesn't his brother run that or something?
But he started it, while he was on tour, and he just ended up writing, a song and came up with that line, A Dying Machine, and then he was like, well, it's not really, he didn't set out to do a concept record. He just did a few songs that ended up being a concept, and so he ran with it. He said he liked the plot so much that he decided to do a book with it as well.
Wow.
And it's got someone else's name at the bottom, so I guess maybe he had help, writing.
I had no idea that album was a concept type album. I just listened to it. It's a pretty good album. I like his earlier work a little bit better, but
apparently it's about a guy that had a machine, or created a machine or bought a machine, a female like robot that was supposed to love him, but then she found out that she's going to live longer and she's stronger and she's smarter, and it doesn't turn out well for him, is how he put it.
We're all just machines, man.
Sounds like a Ex Machina movie kind of thing.
I mean, Ex Machina.
I think you say Machina, but
yeah, if you're in like Europe or something, it's Machina here,
I think
man.
that's how you're supposed to do it.
It's like we go to Mexico, it's Jesus. Here it's Jesus.
SpaceX, he what is it? It's called Dragon or something. Anyway, it was like a cargo piece of equipment that was attached to the space station, and it held all kinds of tools and study equipment. Anyway, it detached, and they put out this 4K footage of it detaching and going back to Earth, and it looks really cool.
Did he capture that from the Tesla that he wasted?
Yeah, that was
up there in space.
That was ridiculous.
I've been seeing a lot of videos pop up in the recommended videos on YouTube this week regarding Tesla 3. The newer model.
Okay.
Everybody's getting theirs. There was a long waiting list, and they begin at $35,000, and I think they go up to $80,000 or something ridiculous. But
pretty soon, you can take an elevator ride to space, according to Japan. They recently launched a mini space elevator that they are testing. Now, this thing is only a few inches long, but this is a concept, and they're fixing to launch it into space.
Well, as soon as everybody over there quits
space
committing suicide in forests, we'll be okay. How do you have a suicide forest and not do something about it? They have buildings right there next to the forest where you park, and it's almost kind of reminded me of a welcome center. But how do you, if that's what's going on in that forest, put a help center there where you can go in and get help?
That's creepy.
Anybody walking out into the woods, have somebody out there. Hey, how y'all doing today? We love you. Come here, give me a hug.
That'd be interesting to do a ghost hunt out there. For real.
Nope. Well, you used to hunt.
Yes.
You used to do the little paranormal.
Well, look, I grew up in a house that had poltergeist activity, and so
go to the light, Caroline.
Yeah, exactly. And it was in a time where it was before cable, or before most people had cable. Unless you were rich or something, which we weren't.
Yeah.
And 58. And so it was actually just like poltergeist, because at 2-3 in the morning, you remember it at midnight or 1,
The channel's turned off.
the national anthem would play, and it would go to snow.
And there'd be a flag waving,
It would just be white snow. And so that was
football players everywhere taking a knee
geez.
at 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning.
And that was, that was the norm. So that was also on the Poltergeist movie. That's why that was there, and the snow on the TV, and Caroline putting her hands on the TV.
It's the only way you get snow in Florida.
But yeah, our TV would come on at 2, 3 in the morning by itself with that white snow. So it was just like Poltergeist. It was.
You don't
very
think
similar.
maybe like your neighbor had a remote that was on the same RF frequency and maybe put better batteries in it than yours had? And
we lived in a cul-de-sac like the movie The Burbs, actually, and so actually our neighbors we all left our doors unlocked. They would come over and fix themselves a sandwich when we were gone.
Was there a creepy doctor on your?
No, I don't
sack?
think so. But there was a creepy one guy that didn't really talk to anybody. So I think he killed my dog.
Was all of his grass dead, but everybody else's was green?
No, but we do think he murdered our dog.
Eating animal crackers up on the roof.
But anyway, no, the neighbors would say, they started asking my parents, hey, have y'all experienced anything in y'all's house? Because I was over here making a sandwich and
Wow.
somebody walked behind me, and I thought it was y'all.
Ooh.
But anyway, point being,
I have felt what you thought was wind, but then you think that wasn't wind, man. That felt like somebody like just barely grazing you, like in the back.
really, where
In the back of my neck.
did this happen?
Just wherever. Not here, although somebody did die in my house.
That's right, on the toilet.
Yeah. No, he was just in the bathroom, and they didn't say he was like Elvising, But yeah, he retired from work as an engineer, and 2 weeks later, heart attack in the bathroom. Ain't that a bitch?
So my great grandmother was a medium, actually, and I never got to meet her.
I'm a 2X.
Right. But anyway, so I was always intrigued by it, and I wanted to prove it to myself. So I got the opportunity to join a paranormal investigation team, and
That is pretty cool.
I did it for probably 4 to 6 years, and I was on many different teams. I actually worked with that TV show Paranormal State on A&E, and they came out and did a show on 2 of our houses that we found.
Wow.
And basically, I proved it to myself, and then I was done. Once I proved it to myself, and I got enough evidence to prove it to me that there is something going on, then I was done with that.
Well, the reason I asked you that is because there's a guy up in Connecticut. He's got to be in court September 11th. We'll leave his name out of it. He's got to be in court because he has charges including the illegal discharge of a firearm. Not a good one. Making a false statement to police. Second-degree reckless endangerment. Misusing an emergency call. And disorderly conduct. Well, he claims to be a paranormal investigator and was shooting at a ghost in his house. He put 2 bullets in his walls, then reported the incident to police as an attempted break-in. Then later told the police that he thinks that the intruder was a spirit.
I think he was on drugs. It could have been like a Scooby-Doo situation where someone was dressed up.
Ruby Roo. You having done that before, I didn't know if you ever, heard, been on an investigation and just, hold on.
I had wished at times that I had a proton pack, though. The International Space Station.
ISS.
Yeah, the ISS.
Not ISIS.
They found a leak.
Ooh.
It was a hole leading to the outside.
Yeah, they were out there trying to fix that last week, wasn't they?
Yeah,
Or
they
last
were.
weekend or something.
Well, they were losing oxygen. It was getting serious.
Ooh.
They thought it was from a small meteor. There's all kind of little microscopic
Fragments,
debris
yeah,
flying through
yeah.
space.
Yeah, and that stuff's booking too, man.
But yeah,
Hundreds of thousands of miles an hour.
But after investigating it, they have come to the determination that there are traces of drill holes around it, and it came from the inside. So they feel like they've been sabotaged.
They saw a ghost, and they tried to shoot it.
These are the Russians that are saying this, that someone sabotaged it and drilled a hole from the inside.
Hillary Clinton.
Well, I was going to say Trump, but...
Oh, no. Water clouds discovered deep inside Jupiter's Great Red Spot, You know, that big giant megastorm,
which is shrinking, by the way.
I think it's like the size of Earth, isn't it?
It's shrinking.
That's not in my notes. It's been that storm has been going for centuries, and I remember as a kid, I thought they said that you could fit multiple Earths in that storm, but now I think they've changed that. I think.
They measured it at one point, and it was like 14,000 miles across, and then they measured it again. Voyager did one of the measurements, and they measured it again years later, and it was 10,000 miles across. So it's shrinking. They say within 10 to 20 years it'll be gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, water clouds discovered deep inside Jupiter's Great Red Spot megastorm raise hopes that life could exist there. And this is recent information. Like, this is like yesterday. It also can shed new light on how the giant planet was formed. By peering into Jupiter's famous Great Red Spot with thermal-sensitive telescopes, NASA said that the space agency found chemical signatures of water in the planet's clouds. Somehow.
But you know, Jupiter is our guardian angel, man. Like, it has saved us so many times from meteors,
so
like
massive.
Shoemaker-Levy 9 and all of that. Anything that comes in that threatens to annihilate Earth, Jupiter's gravity is so strong because it's so huge, it just sucks everything in. It's like our shield, our natural shield.
But basically what I got out of this is where there's potential for water to exist, the possibility for life cannot be ruled out because water is the building block.
That's correct.
So I just thought that was kind of cool that they're still keeping an eye. Like, I wonder if there's like a team that just monitors like each planet and each being, each celestial body out there.
I would imagine that if there was a life form on Jupiter, it would almost have to be a flying life form, because I'm pretty sure that there's no landmass there.
Yeah.
It's just
gases
and storms and whatever.
Yeah, well that storm is like centuries old. It's been going on for hundreds of years.
Right.
So they think anyway.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of oxygen and what else you say?
Hydrogen,
yeah.
Carbon monoxide, which has got oxygen in it. So.
Yeah, NASA has released that they will give $1 million to whoever successfully turns CO2 into glucose or sugar.
I think I seen that.
And if anybody'd like to give this a shot, registration is January 24th, 2019 is the deadline. So if you think you can pull this off, and we have a lot of engineers around us.
It says NASA breaks silence on asteroid bigger than a pyramid heading for Earth. This was like over the weekend. The asteroid is hurtling. They said hurtling. I thought it would be hurling. Hurtling our way at 20,000 miles per hour. And it's expected to skim past our planet on Wednesday. Well, that's today. It's known as 2016 NF23 and measures 500 foot in diameter. That's bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, which stands at 45 feet. NASA classifies asteroids as potentially hazardous if they are within 4.6 million miles of Earth.
Gilbert Levin, in 1976, he was part of the Viking lander that first went to Mars.
Yeah, okay.
And basically he's saying that, we knew life existed then, and we know that now. And NASA's just not.
Yeah, they just came out
with it
2-3 weeks ago, wasn't it? That it was big news that they found potential life on Mars. So this guy's saying that we've known this information for 40 years.
And then again in 97, he concluded that the experiment had indeed detected life on Mars, and he championed that viewpoint ever since. Now more than 4 decades after the Viking landings, and with a lot more information about Mars in hand, Levin believes that NASA hasn't properly followed up on the Viking landers' results. And this is a quote, "I am certain that NASA knows there is life on Mars," he said this past July on a popular online program, The Space Show. Levin called for a re-examination of the Viking LR data by an objective panel, but there's more. Over the past 40 years, a succession of orbiters, landers, and rovers have gathered evidence that life exists on Mars today, Levin said.
I wonder if the life that's on Mars saw the Viking lander coming in like, ooh, aliens. They're going to abduct us.
All right. Well, I don't think he means that there's Martians.
Probe our buttholes.
Martians out there. You know, he's just saying,
well,
there's forms of life.
They could be micro life. They could still be conscious. We don't know, man.
Well, they said this year.
What is that big giant thing?
They said this year, oh, yeah, we dug down one or 2 inches and we found microbial life.
Chelsea Clinton is traveling with a mobile Planned Parenthood propaganda machine called Rise Up for Roe. Now, you know who Chelsea Clinton is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was Whitewater, then there was Ugly Daughter. She's saying that abortions have added $3.5 trillion to the economy via working women. Are they that desperate that they have to use that? I'm all for a woman's right to choose. You want to go do that? If that's what you feel you need to do in your life, do it. I've been there myself, not on the, on the male's end of it. I have been in that position, and so I'm not against it. But what I'm against is it being touted as some kind of empowering, something that's going to be taken away. If you think that any Supreme Court justice that gets in office, like this new guy that they're Kavanaugh that they're trying to get in now, is going to overturn Roe versus Wade without some kind of a major entire country freaking the shit out, and it being turned back like within a week, go ahead and overturn Roe versus Wade in this country. I dare you.
Plan C. You get in the shower, you turn it on cold, good to go.
I don't like the world we're in, dude. I just don't.
I don't like any of them. I think everybody should be independent.
It's not.
And we should remove all these invisible lines that we created and call them states and countries. It's all ridiculous.
If you could send a Terminator back in time to take somebody out, would you go like way back?
I'd probably take out 9 Inch Nails so Filter could be more successful. I would use Kirkpatrick's brother that played in T2 to do the job as well.
I actually liked his role. He was the cop, right? That could like mold into he was
liquid metal.
He was the metal guy. Yeah.
No, I think the most common answer would be Hitler. He wiped out millions of Jews. So, but then again, what if you took out the people that crucified Jesus?
Well, then he wouldn't have died.
Where's our salvation?
For our sins, and we wouldn't be saved and have salvation, like you said. So without Christianity, we'd probably not be here. We'd have a lot of people acting up.
Did you hear about Bono losing his voice mid-show? Well, they're doing.
Thank God.
They're doing this tour, no, he was mid-song. They were like the 4th song in, and he was singing, and it just disappeared. And they're blaming it on the fog machines or whatever. And
you do exist.
Love you. But yeah, he had to stop and say, "I'm sorry, we can't continue. We'll do another show some other time." He can't. His voice just disappeared.
What do you think about Axl Rose touring as the vocalist for AC/DC? Have you heard any of it?
No. I have a strong distaste for Guns N' Roses, for Axl Rose. I just don't like their sound, never have. I think the vocals are terrible.
I liked it when it came out because it was edgy and kind of different and rude. And I mean, every song on Appetite was pretty rude. And then even the one after that, the little EP that they did, Lies, that one was pretty edgy and kind of gritty too. And it just seemed to fit, that particular era. But after that, MTV made them so big that it's just like, when you get money in your pocket and you just change everything that you are. I
never liked the way he moved. I never liked his vocals. Nothing.
Live, he was awful back then. I saw him open for Motley Crue back then on the Girls tour. And
last episode, we talked about the pyramids of Giza. and them finding electromagnetic fields somehow concentrated in the chambers. And, you know, we ran out of time before I could bring up some things about the pyramids. And so
you can be honest, I derailed you. Sorry.
I kind of wanted to, no, I don't think so. I kind of wanted to touch on that today and kind of go further into, you know, we talked about the hieroglyphs that are in there that show like helicopters and things like that.
Yeah, very cool stuff.
Well, there's also depictions of light bulbs and things. And
are they on top of anybody's head? Because that would be just an idea.
All right. No.
Okay.
No, they're like holding these things, and then there's actually a wire coming from the light bulb that goes down to some sort of a power source.
Solar panel, I hope.
And there are, I guess, you know, you would call them sarcophaguses or coffins.
Yes.
But they're so huge you could fit like a bull inside of them. So they're not for mummies, okay, and they're empty, and they're just sitting there. So they think
what do you think they're for?
Well, they think that they were some type of, have you ever heard of a Baghdad battery, which is basically a battery?
That sounds like a Cleveland steamer or a donkey punch or a...
No, it's not. Baghdad battery.
It sounds like, you know, like a dirty Sanchez.
No, basically it's a primitive way to make a battery where you can take like some type of acid like lemon juice and some copper coil, and it makes it conductive like a battery.
I've seen a clock run off of a potato.
There you go. And there's also video on YouTube you can find where you can take a certain type of magnet and a light bulb and put them close to the light bulb, and it just lights up by itself, completely wireless. And so basically, also the pyramids, they used to be made of polished granite that would be completely reflective of the sun, and they also theorized that the very tips of these used to be gold. And obviously somebody came out and stripped the gold off and did away with that because it's valuable. And so the way the chambers are made and certain things and the electromagnetic concentration in some of the chambers, basically is that the theory is that they used to have electricity, okay? And it was probably in some cases Tesla was studying the pyramids back then and he was
Nikola, right? Not
the old Tesla.
Yeah.
The real deal
Nikola
guy.
Tesla.
And all his research was saying that we could have wireless electricity that's free, and free electricity that's wireless. And he built a thing based on his studies of the pyramids. He built some type of big conductive giant coil that would harness the electromagnetic fields in the atmosphere that would carry electricity wirelessly. And I think he successfully did some tests of this, but when he died, supposedly the powers that be destroyed his work because it had
that seems to be the common
with free wireless energy.
Anybody who comes up with an idea that's going to cut into the energy industry's profits, be it oil or coal or anything else, natural gas, whatever, they get dealt with appropriately.
Yeah, and we thought, looking at the pyramids, that this is evidence of old technology, basically.
But but they didn't find like light bulbs and stuff like hanging in there.
Well, you wouldn't. It wouldn't survive, right? It wouldn't survive thousands of years.
Did they know how to? Sorry. Did they know how to like blue glass? Oh, I guess the traditional light bulb might not be the exact design that they had back then. So
no, I think it makes me think, like, if you could imagine 7,000 years from now, let's say a meteor came and struck the Earth, and only a few of us survived. Would the few that survived, let's say 100 people survived, if none of those 100 people were actually a scientist that could make a computer chip or engineer a iPhone, could we do it again? Probably not. We would find new ways to create innovation and new technology, because we wouldn't. The people that survive would not necessarily be the ones that would retain the knowledge to rebuild that technology. And then if generation after generation, they had kids, and then 7,000 years later, we have a new civilization, and all this is buried over with sediment and dead and gone. You know, would we find a keyboard? Would we find I
think as many of them as
silicone
there
chip
are laying in landfills. Yeah, we probably would. All they have to do is get in the ocean and find all of our garbage.
I mean, maybe so, but
there's a lot more evidence of us being here due to the amount of us here and the amount of things we've created that are disposable. So, chances of if we become extinct in the next version of us, 5,000 years from now, finding evidence of us being here is pretty great. It'll be pretty easy. They'll probably just wake up and go, "What is that? Coca-Cola."
Well, 7,000 years is a long time, but 12,000 years is even longer. And we thought that the pyramids of Egypt was like the biggest technological feat and the oldest thing that we had found.
Yeah, well, that was what, like, wasn't the estimate like 2,500 BC or something like that when they were built somewhere in there?
I believe so, probably older. But they thought that was it. But there's a site discovered in, I think, 97 to 2000, somewhere in that area, 1997 to the year 2000, in Turkey on the edge of, like, Iraq and Syria.
Right. I know where Turkey is.
And there's a site called Gobekli Tepe, okay? And it is 7,000 years older than the pyramids.
Whoa.
Okay, so 12,000 years ago. And there are big T-shaped monolith structures with engravings on them and depictions of animals and certain things. And as far as we know, back that long ago, this was the Stone Age. The only thing that we had invented or figured out by then was fire. We hadn't invented the wheel. There's no signs of pottery back that old.
Properly drag a female.
Right. I mean, this is literally the Stone Age, like cavemen. And all of a sudden, this is the oldest known site of any technological, artistic merit value that we've ever seen, and it just blows people away.
You said that's in Turkey, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. And someone equated it to if you found, Legos, and the Empire State Building was built by a 5-year-old, is kind of how you can look at that, and it's basically flipped archaeology on its head. And I would love to go see that in person, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to the border of Syria.
Well, they don't have Taco Bell there. Neil Armstrong, first man to walk on the moon.
Yeah.
Did you know if you take his first name and his last initial, it spells alien backwards?
See? Watch it, guys.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything on the back of it?
Show them what you got.
No.
I gave them some
blank.
stuff they can chunk
I'm writing. No. You've been in my wife's garden again.
Well, we need to take time out for our new sponsor. Everybody knows about Preparation H. Well, this is Preparation D.
That's for your D.
It's a new product line. You can try it out. It's it's a new trial, but you can rub that stuff on, and if that's
where do you rub it?
If that's part of your problem, if you're
on your lips,
if you're walking around today and you just wish, man, I wish Preparation H had Preparation D. Well, this is for you. So,
to the person who keeps pounding on my door at night, I'm not letting you out.
Might as well bring up
Something that pisses me off.
Our second sponsor. I'm not sure how I feel about this.
Harry balls on you.
Five Locos. It's a new beverage drink. If you're walking around today and you wish, man, I wish I had an 8-ball and a beer and a shot of Fireball and all in one can, Five Locos. Go grab you a pair.
A pair.
They come in 2-packs.
Now, the Five Locos. That's like a notch better than 4 Loco.
Right, and so, but they come in 2-packs because when you drink one, you have another full can. No, to throw at somebody because you will go loco.
When you drink a 5 Loco, be sure to listen to 4 Finger Fruit Punch.